Morning, class 12th children of the bio group. Today I am doing the concluding video, third and the last video of the 9th chapter of human evolution. And yesterday we had studied about Ramapithecus, who was there prior to the ape man. Then we studied about the ape man. Yesterday, the African ape man we studied about, and then we studied about Homo habilis, or the tool maker ape man. Then we studied about the third ape man in the last video, which was Java ape man, which was nearest to human. Today we come to the C part, and in this C part we will see the early man. We will study the examples of early man. Homo sapiens neanderthalis, or the Neanderthal man. Some of the features and important points of this are here. In this we see the time period of these fossils that were found. These fossils, these were first discovered by C. Feueroth in 1856, and this was from the ravine of Pleistocene times in Germany, and these ravines were called Neanderthal ravines. These were in Germany, and he named it Homo neanderthalis, as these fossils were found in the ravines of Neanderthal. Other fossils were discovered from Europe, Asia, North Africa, and Siberia. It was renamed to Homo sapiens neanderthalis later. Neanderthal man came up in great numbers, some 150,000 years ago, and they became extinct about 25,000 years ago. If you look at the skull, it had thick boned skull. If you see how thick the bone of the skull is, which can be seen, and this was depressed. We see here a depression. This was a depressed skull and protruded behind. This was protruded behind. Let us have a look at another picture where we see that the skull is protruded behind. So we see the protuberance of this skull here. It is protruded from behind, and we see here that in this particular skull, the forehead was low. We see here the forehead, it is depressed, it is low and sloping. There is a slope here in the forehead region, and the brow ridges were prominent. If you see the brow ridges here, they are projecting, they are prominent, they are somewhat coming out, and these were prominent, and the lower jaw was deep. If you see the lower jaw here, it is set deep. You can see even in this picture, children, that the lower jaw is little deep, and there is no chin. There is a lack of chin. The cranial capacity of the Neanderthal man was 1450 centimeter cube. This was the volume of the cranial capacity of Neanderthal man. Then we see the teeth. The teeth and the lower jaw were deep. As you see here, these were deeply set teeth, and with almost no chin, as I showed you here. The diet of this one, we see here, the diet of this one consisted of both meat as well as vegetables, and this kind of man was omnivorous. He could eat anything that he got. His posture was almost erect, about 150 centimeter tall he was, and he was heavily built. As you can see, the shoulders here, very heavily built shoulders, and he could stand tall and strong. The significance of the Neanderthal man was he was intelligent, and he devised and used variety of excellent flint tools. He was capable of communicating by some sort of syllabic language. That means he used to show action in his language, which was the syllabic language, and developed social life also. He buried his dead, and he used to do it once some kind of primitive ceremony. Then the Neanderthal man was a man which was so much similar to the modern man. He was a nomad. He used to collect food to eat, did not practice agriculture, and he did not domesticate animals, but he moved as a nomad from one place to another. He lived in caves, and he covered his body with animal skins. Those animals he used to hunt, he used to cover himself with their skin. Then we come to Homo sapien fossilis. The next one we will see in the picture is Homo sapien fossilis, or the Cro-Magnon man. You see here the Cro-Magnon man, and his real fossil that was excavated and that was brought out when the Neanderthal man, they first dominated the scene in Europe in the glacial period, and they spread. The Neanderthal man spread to the South Asia and Africa. A new race of man, which we see here, the Cro-Magnon man, they began to infiltrate. These were faster, and the glaciers were melting away in Eastern Europe. And as the glaciers receded, the Cro-Magnon man, they came along. And that time period was that the Cro-Magnon man, they lived nearly 50,000 years ago and became extinct only about 20,000 years ago. They are believed to be our direct ancestors, and was so called as fossils were discovered from Cro-Magnon rocks. Why he was called Cro-Magnon man? Because his fossils were discovered in the Cro-Magnon rocks of France. Mad George was the man in 1888 who found these fossils. Then other fossils also were discovered in Germany, Czechoslovakia, Africa, and other parts of France. You look at the skull, its cranial capacity was great, even greater than modern man or our cranial capacity. Its cranial capacity was 1660 centimeter cube of volume, much more than us. His face was perfectly orthognathous. Now, what is orthognathous? That means the jaw does not project forward. Let me show you in this picture. The jaw here does not project forward, or the jaw is not protruding forward. That is why it is known so. So we see here that that the face was perfectly orthognathous, not projecting forward, with narrow elevated nose. The nose was narrowly elevated, very slight elevation of nose was there. We can see here the very slight elevation in the nose. Here is the proper picture of the Cro-Magnon man. Nose is not very clear. Let me show you another picture of Cro-Magnon man here, children, to make it clear. And we see that he had narrow elevated nose, broad and arched forehead. His forehead was broad, it was arched, and he had moderate uh, brow ridges. The brow ridges were not protruding, they were not prominent, but they were only moderately present, as we can see here the brow ridges. See here how they are projecting out, but here they are moderate, not projecting out. Then we see that the teeth were strong jaws with man-like dentition and well-developed chin was there. Then their posture, we see 180 centimeter cube tall with sturdy body. You see how sturdy the body is of this Cro-Magnon man. And the swift-footed erectness of this person. He was stiff-footed and he moved very quickly from one place to the other. The significance is he was cave-dwelling. He had hard-working, intelligent mind. He was a hunter. Then we see another significant point of the Cro-Magnon man, that he knew the art of painting, which sets him differently from all the previous ape mans. And he knew carving of animals in his caves. He used to make the pictures, paintings and carvings of the animals that were there during his time inside his caves. He made tools. He carved ornaments from ivory, and he made finely chipped stone arrows and spearheads. He sewed crude garments of skins of animals. He also knew how to use fire. He had religious beliefs and elaborate burial customs which used to go for hours together. Then we see that he did not practice agriculture, nor animal domestication was done by him. Homo sapiens sapiens is the next one that came after Cro-Magnon man. And Homo sapiens sapien, we can see, is the man of today. The time period of the fossils of modern man, Homo sapiens sapiens, have been found in late Pleistocene deposits in France, Java and South Africa. And it first appeared about 11,000 years ago in Caspian and Mediterranean region. Further changed to the present day. White Mongoloid people are there, white people are there, Mongoloids like the Chinese people are there, and blacks or the Negroid people are there. So all these races respectively came in the modern man. Then we see the skull of modern man. Size of the skull increased with a much enlarged cerebrum. Forehead became steep and brow ridges were much reduced in us. We don't have protruding brow ridges like the ape. Our brow ridges are much moderate and are normal. The chin became prominent. Our chins are not stubbed like the apes, but we have got protruding beautiful chins. And the skull shifted to an apical position. That means no more the head was turned low, or the head was angled towards the front, but the head was straight up in apical position on top of the vertebral column. The cranial capacity of human male is 1260 centimeter cube, whereas of the female the volume is 1130 centimeter cube in present human females. The teeth, as you have read in the chapter of skeleton locomotion last year in class 11, an adult has 32 teeth with 8 incisors, 4 canines, 8 premolars, 8 molars and 4 wisdom teeth which are also molars. So we see here how a modern man has really come up in his intelligence. The posture is entirely erect, and the posture, there are four reversed curves in the spine which give us the perfectly erect posture when we walk. The broad chest is acquired by modern man, Homo sapiens sapiens, by the flattening of the sternum, forward and downward shifting of the foramen magnum, which is the hole which is connected onto the vertebral column. Then we see the significance of modern man. He has social behavior in human evolution, establishment of family. We see either modern man is monogamous or is polygamous. Monogamous means just a marriage between one husband and wife. Polygamy means marrying many ladies or many women. Then we see prolonged childhood, during which children acquire the prevailing culture. We have prolonged childhood. The children remain with parents for a long time. They learn the culture, they learn the know-how of their day-to-day life. Then we see there is increased use of speech for communication. We have beautiful languages, words, and the way to make another person understand. Then children, we also see the significant feature in us is development of the concepts of a home base and food sharing with each other. We are no more nomads. We are no more collecting food, but we are growing food. We are using agriculture, and we are also sharing our food with others. Then competition for food replaced by cooperation in food gathering enterprises. So we gather the food as farmers, and that is then sold to other people so that they can also make use of it. Then we see another point of significance in modern man: division of labor. The males, they went for hunting in groups, whereas women stayed at home and they did the household chores. But this is fast changing now. Even the women, they are not only bread makers, but they are bread winners these days. Then we see the stabilization of broader social structure came. Extension of geographical range by tolerance. There is a tolerance between the different countries, and there is extension of the geographical range, and we hold the line of controls and show tolerance towards our neighboring nations. Then use of simple and complex tools. We see the most sophisticated intelligent tools which are in their hands, online tools that are in their hands. Man has really developed use of fire for cooking and defense against animals was shown by modern man. The development of folk wisdom, folk art, folk religion, philosophy and science and technology is shown by modern man. Now, another American anthropologist, his name is Shapiro. He is of the opinion that a future man will come, and this man will have a dome-like head, and the man of today will change into the futuristic man, and he has given the scientific name Homo sapiens futurist to the future man. And this Shapiro, this anthropologist, has said that the future man would not have the fifth digit in his foot. So this finishes your chapter, and I would be sending the assignments also tomorrow. So children, wish you all the best. Do well. Go through this chapter and understand it well for the board examination. All the best. Thank you.